Welcome into a very special edition of Target Score. It's not Target Score Winnipeg. It's not Target Score Brampton, though we are in Brampton, currently sitting here in my in-laws' backyard because we couldn't get into the CBL office. Classic. But yes, it is finals week, Matt Bonomi, and we are 1 day away. We are a little more than 24 hours away from tip-off. Before we get going, though, we got to give some shout outs, Mr. Bonomi. We've got some sponsors that are making this all possible today. I want to thank Holt Dental, Zwieke, Mondays, and Finn McCool's. Holt Dental has been a day one sponsor of Target Score and the game day reports, as everybody knows. I know all the fans out in Vancouver, the first thing they said when I went out there, they're like, hey, game day report brought to you by Holt Dental. And they didn't know my name. So I didn't know how to take it, but I was very happy that it worked. Zwieke is one of the premier brands in Winnipeg. You've seen it everywhere. Like pretty much every high school team has, at least all the coolest jerseys in high school are made by Zwieke. He's done uniforms for the University of Manitoba and Winnipeg, does team gear. They have some sweet NSL gear out now, the Golden Girl line. Check it out because the NSL is coming to Winnipeg next summer. And just great stuff. I'll be wearing, I got a polo that I got to be wearing there. I'm excited to be wearing that to the game tomorrow. Nice and fresh and comfy. Monday's Cafe as well. Monday's Cafe on the corner of Broadway and Donald. $2 large coffees all the time. Great staff. Great people, great times, great coffee. Make sure you're hitting up Mondays. And of course, Finn McCool's. For our Winnipeg viewers, we were asking for a viewing party. You got it. I will not be there, unfortunately, because I'm got to go to the game so we can bring the coverage to you in Winnipeg. But the game will be on at Finn McCool's tomorrow. All the sound will be on. It's going to be packed with Sea Bears fans. So make sure you make your reservation. You can go on to their website and let me get the number for you here because, you got to call in too, right? You don't want to be taking chances on a time like this. That's for sure. But you can call the 431-317-8636 to make your reservation for the teal party, the viewing party at Finn McCool's on Grant in the Grant Park Mall parking lot. Thanks to everybody who made this possible. Matt Bonomi, the first ever series in the CEBL to decide the champions. How are you feeling, my friend? You already had a podcast today. You're already warmed up.
I'm feeling a little bit heavier right now, Joey, and this is why. I'm going to show you what's on the line. I'm going to show you what's on the line right here. 2024. See this puppy right here?
Yeah, let's zoom you in.
Yeah, bring this.
Is that your river? Is that River Lions ring?
This is the River Lions ring, right? 2024. But wait, pretty cool, nice and shiny. But let me do you one better today. Fresh off the press today, Joseph. Fresh off the press. Check this one out. Riverline stepping up their game. This is what's on the line, folks, in Winnipeg and Brampton. Light on in the box.
The best part is you froze right as you were opening it up. That's perfect. Look at that.
This is what's on the line, people. One of these. You could have one of these if you want. That's all it is. I mean, again, I'm not going to say I stole these off of someone because I didn't, but that's what's on the line this week, Joseph. That's what's on the line. And I think people need to be remembered that things can be a lot heavier come Monday morning.
Well, it probably won't be Monday morning. I think you're going to have to wait till the ring ceremony to start off the season.
Yeah, probably makes sense. Yeah.
Hey, you don't have to remind Winnipeggers what's on the line. They actually watched that second ring one on their home court last year. And the Sea Bears and their fans are hoping the Sea Bears can do that on home court this year. They failed to get through the conference finals last year, Matthew, losing to the Calgary Surge. They did not do such a thing this time around. A phenomenal game against Vancouver to get through. For those that that are on the Winnipeg podcast, we've gone through this many a times, but this was a game that not a lot of people had Winnipeg winning. That was a game that I think many people had Vancouver as the heavy favorites. There was a size advantage, but Winnipeg shot the lights out. They were getting to their shots, played great defense, and really didn't let Mitch Creek or Shamar Givens get into a rhythm. And now they were rewarded with, hey, man, I don't know if these are like, can you hear
cicadas? It's
rats?
Cicadas. That's how you can tell you're in Ontario right away. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, yep, Joey's home. That's exactly.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, man. That's exactly what it is.
They're so loud.
It's either that or your car needs serious servicing. Is there a sponsor that could do servicing on your vehicle? Is that what it's?
I thought cicadas come out like once every 10 years and they were out like last year. What the?
Today's that day. Today's the day they show up. They only come out for big things. This is the CBL finals. They want to be a part of this too. Oh
Oh,
man.
nonetheless, yeah. Okay, well, cicadas aside, super glad that we we got that out of the way. But no, this is a big one for Winnipeg, and I think it's really cool that we have this as a final this year, or sorry, the series this year, that we get to go back and forth, and both teams get to, and both fan bases get to experience this. I mean, there was a buzz in Winnipeg. I know there's going to be a ton of Winnipeggers at the game tomorrow. I think Winnipeg, I think the Sea Bears pretty much purchased like the entire courtside seats that were
Mm.
available. So I think there's going to be a lot of teal in Honey Badger land, my friend. I hope you're ready for that.
We have heard there's some special guests coming tomorrow too, some NBA fellas. So you'll have to tune into the game to find out, or buy a ticket and go, because there aren't many tickets left. We were looking at the map, the seating map or the seating chart earlier on the podcast in the day, and it was only like the corner sections, which is rare for us in Brampton. I mean they've done a great job of bringing more fans out to the games this year, but in the past it's been pretty bare at times. So Al Whitley, shout out to the front office, Leonard Asper, Rock, Jermaine Anderson. They've done a great job at building this up, and it seems like, again, limited tickets. But for $20, I said to D2, you can watch the finals of a pro basketball league for $20 in your backyard.
Well,
if you're in the GTA. That's how cheap it is.
no, it's crazy. Also, did you see or hear this morning? Al Whitley rather was on TSN radio on First Up. So this is getting like, I understand it doesn't hold a candle even close to target score, but not a bad get for the Honey Badgers to get a little TSN action.
No, and the coverage exactly is exactly what they need. I mean, this is what we've been looking for all year. I'm Nav super fan, also going to be in the building tomorrow. The NBA names that I've heard, again, rumored: Dylan Brooks, AJ Lawson, and Norm Powell. Those were the three names that we've heard. So again, biggest game of the year. Stars come out. People want to be involved, and again, shout out to the front office for doing such a good job at that. But you mentioned that Winnipeg game against Vancouver a couple minutes ago, Joe, and I was just looking at the box score. It's crazy to me, and I would love to hear your opinion on this. General question, because I think everyone and their brother probably bet Vancouver was going to win. Like I even thought when I was going to bed the night before that, okay, well, this is kind of a given. It's going to be Vancouver, and who knows in the finals. But without Teddy Allen, is this team better? I mean, that's the one question I've been thinking of the past hour, waiting for this to start. And I'm like, you know what? Because Xavier Moon obviously played good. Simon Hildebrand snapped. He had like a career game. Isaiah Osborne, Trey McGowan's, DJ Burns, all double digits. And then you had Watson Gill coming off the bench, double digits as well. What is so different when Teddy Allen's not playing? Because again, like we talked to you before the playoffs, and it was kind of like, yeah, the guys are ready. They're ready to go. The morale is a little down, but it's because you lose your guy no matter what. Like your MVP candidate, shout out Teddy, who is probably going to take down Miles Powell for the MVP this season. But how much different is that? Because it seems like it's almost like a second wind here for them without their MVP.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if they're better without Teddy Allen, but they definitely play different. I think the big thing without Teddy Allen, Matt, is that he takes so many shots, right? And he hits a lot of those shots, and he drives the scoring. And I think there's a little bit of coming together for Teddy in this team too. I think there's, like, guys don't want to see a guy go down right before the playoffs after the season that he's had. As you said, like, he's a front runner for MVP. We'll get to that in just a second. The awards that were just announced today as well, the finalists, I should say, for the nominees. But yeah, I'm not sure if they're better. It's just they have to play more cohesively. And the other thing too is, with him and Tillman gone, there's now no decision when it comes to the imports. So everybody on that team knows that they have to play, right? So there's no, you're not guessing like, oh, am I going to play game one? Am I going to play game two? Or, what's Coach Rainbow's strategy going to be for, the playoffs, and where do I fit in? Will I fit in? Because this is what happened last year. Like, we didn't know when, like, who was going to be sitting out the day going up to it. And Jalen Williams was the guy last year that wasn't able to play in the biggest games because they had too many imports. So everybody's a little bit more prepared. And we'll get to this in our game day tomorrow, but I'll hint at it a little bit, because we did ask Xavier Moon about it. And Xavier Moon said when we asked him, like, what the key was, and he's like, flying in the private jets.
Come on.
Dude, they took private jets to Vancouver so they didn't have to deal with
What?
any travel woes. And like
Put
he
him on
took
the
a video,
Greyhound bus, man. Greyhound bus,
dude.
$30
They
ticket.
he took a video and he got his feet up on a reclining chair with his like whatever those things are called, like those leg freezer things, like those big black things that all the athletes wear for recovery.
And D,
Like
yeah.
he's rocking one of those. But I'll say, like, going back to this whole thing though with Teddy Allen, the other thing is Xavier Moon. Not that he's ever second guessing, but like I think it makes his job a little bit easier too, because I think the biggest focus was getting Teddy the best shots, right, and then see what unravels from there, right? So Teddy's not available. Who's the second or third options? But this is a team that even Xavier Moon, like, he didn't play most of the second quarter. He had 3 fouls in the first half. So did DJ Burns, who's really their only big man. So, like, this was a pure team effort. Like, everybody stepped up. Even Kyler Filowich, who, had games where he didn't play, is now playing 10 minutes, and he took down 5, I think it was 5 rebounds, like fighting for those boards. This was a team that they're playing cohesive. And I remember talking to Trey McGowan's before that game, and Trey McGowan said, we noticed, and again, the number was about the same as the season. It was a little over 6,000 people in attendance. But I don't know if those were 6,000 seats. But he said, and maybe this is the narrative they're going with, Matt. Maybe this is what they're kind of playing up themselves. But he said, we notice some empty seats. We see what people are saying online. We just laugh. Like, this is a team that was built to go deep. Like, we've always been next man up. And the guys that were not on the team anymore, like the Jeremiah Tillmans, the Emmanuel Acotts, Teddy Allen, Trey Scott, who left a few weeks ago, they're all in the group chat still. Like, this is still the team. And I'll say this, man, like, Winnipeg Seabears fans were pissed. They were throwing in the towel before the playoffs started. They thought without those guys that they were, a lot of people thought they were going to get trounced by Saskatoon rather. And they played a near perfect game. They had 2 turnovers that entire game, not a quarter, not a half. The entire game, they had 2 turnovers, and one was just like a complete miscommunication with Xavier Moon, where he turned it over to Jaden Bediako at center court, and then Bediako threw it out of bounds. So, so this is a team that, was dialed in on that game, and they just carried that belief into Vancouver. Because I will say, I was one of the backers for the Saskatoon game, saying, I'm not saying Winnipeg's the favorite, but I think people are overblowing how much of an advantage Saskatoon has. Yeah, they were playing their best basketball, and they were 6-1 going into the game. But I thought it was a more even matchup than most people gave it credit for. And Winnipeg, did great work in that one, controlling it from start to finish. And then they did the same thing pretty much with Vancouver. Like, they were just keeping them at arm's length the whole time. It was just like every time Vancouver came close, they're like, all right, we got a response. Stay back there. And Vancouver never got their momentum under them. Like,
they never got comfortable.
They were scoring. Their guys were getting their points, but you can tell they were just struggling for everything they could get. And Winnipeg was just hitting everything. And I don't want to give away too much because we have our game day live tomorrow. But and maybe I'll play a little bit of it while we're talking here. But we talked to the boys before they left yesterday, because that's the other thing. We were hoping to go to practices today. Problem was, I landed after the Brampton practice had ended, and Winnipeg doesn't have any floor time today. So I'm interested to see how that plays out, because they're getting off the plane and they won't hit the court until tomorrow morning for their shoot around. So, so we got to talk to them yesterday, and Xavier Moon was pretty open about, like, they were confident. They're confident going into this one, and I think it's going to be a much more even matchup, like in terms of, especially at the guards. We have elite guards, probably the best guards in the league in terms of a team going head to head. But you guys have some bigs too as well. But like, that was the story getting here for Winnipeg. Now, Brampton, though, man, Brampton didn't play. What were they, 3-11 in the second half of the season? One of those wins in Winnipeg against the Seabears. And then they, like, hey, we talked about Scarborough, punting it and getting in that fight and losing all these players. Brampton had guys suspended too. They get through Ottawa, who I thought was going to be an upset team throughout the playoffs. And then further to that, you had the Niagara team that is back-to-back champions. Like, what is the story with Brampton?
I'm just gonna show these again quickly. Just the awkward handhold there. I'm just gonna wear these. I think I'm just gonna put these on for now.
You're such a bandwagoner. Next year's Target Score Niagara host, Matt Bonomi.
Oh my God, it's stuck on my finger. There we go. Oh my God, amputate my finger. I will say, first and foremost, just to close out the Xavier Moon point there, the Xavier Moon thing, that bothers me the most. There we go. Nice. What the heck is this? Pod after work? Let's go. Just for your
XO
pleasure.
204.
XO.
The
Just for your
arms of the
pleasure.
Sea Bears.
It's hilarious. Took a flare flight back. Yeah, they used points too, Stack Guy Tie. They used credit card points to purchase those. PJs to points. The thing that bothers me about Xavier Moon that probably bothers a lot of people is this is a guy in my eyes at 31 years old who was what, a 3-time MVP in this league already. Like I am bothered that we didn't get to see him for the full year in Winnipeg, because I would bet my bottom dollar that he's the wily vet that would certainly be on MVP ballots. He's played 7 games, double digits in every. Like he played 40 minutes against.
He was
Saskatoon.
a player of the month, and he played 5 games. Like to put that in perspective,
that's insane. Like 5 regular season, 2 playoffs. He's got 20 plus points in both the playoffs games. But the 40 minutes against Saskatoon, like this is a guy that had really no run to get used to. I mean, he's familiar with Winnipeg and obviously the guys there, let's say, or whatever it may be. But it's insane to me that he has had this much success in such a short period of time. And it's not insane, but it's not shocking. It's just like every time he does something, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy just keeps getting better and better. And that's why, like I said to D the other day, I'm like, man, I would love to put this guy on my MVP ballot. Like if it was one of those pick whoever you want things again, where we didn't have like recommend, I would have been like, dude, I would have put this guy on my MVP, but like, it's just one of those things. And he'll be.
He didn't have enough time. He didn't have enough time. Like I honestly think
the runway, right?
Okay, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'll jump in.
No, you're good. Go ahead, because I'm going to switch to Brampton stuff. So you're good.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, with the finalists coming out, like one of the cool things I thought was, and this is totally well deserved, but there's the 2 Development Player of the Year nominees are both with Saskatoon. I don't know who the finalists would be, because like, listen, man, I don't know what Teddy's numbers look like if they're sharing the ball. I also don't think Teddy cares. Like that's the other thing too. Like I just want to clear that narrative. Like I don't think Teddy ever cared about the MVP. We asked him about it throughout the year, and he kept saying like, this is in somebody else's hands. I have nothing to do with this, right? And I just want to play basketball and win a championship. But if you had him and Moon, would either of them, like, because how do you choose between the two? Because Miles Powell was still having the season that he did. That wasn't going to change. But it could have changed the whole trajectory. But there is a small chance you might have saw 2 finalists from the same team for MVP. And can you imagine if they did that and were going to the finals and won the championship? Like, because last year it was the Defensive Player of the Year was between Greg Brown and Jameer Nelson Jr., who played on the same team, right? And it brought some friendly banter. It was fun during championship weekend to talk to them about that and, like, the chirping that goes between teammates. But I agree with you 100%, man. Xavier Moon put himself in the – before we jump to Brampton, do you want to hear the clip? I got it lined up.
Yeah, run it. Let's go.
Okay, this is Xavier Moon yesterday talking about the game in Vancouver and some of the things that went wrong.
Doing the same thing we did in Vancouver. Against Stops, trying to get out and run the transition, sharing the ball, playing together. And I think we'll be fine.
In that Vancouver game, there was a bit of a track meet early, but you guys stuck to it. I mean, there were times I'm watching the game and I'm thinking, can they sustain this? And you guys did. Like, how did you do that?
I think it was the private jet that really helped us. The travel wasn't as long as it would have been if we'd have flew commercial. So I think that really helped us. And we learned a lesson after that travel day the last time we played Vancouver. I feel like everybody had fresh legs, everybody was ready to go, and we had to prove a point.
Yeah, so the private jets played a factor. The follow-up question, I didn't have time to cut it in there, but Jeff Hamilton, people in Winnipeg know Jeff Hamilton. He used to work with the Winnipeg Free Press. Now he's doing work for the Canadian Press. And he asked, he's like, are you guys traveling private jets again? And he's like, no. I think we got to go back to commercials. So a little deflation, but they had time to plan this. The whole thing with that one is, they didn't find out they were playing Vancouver until about midnight, Central time before they figured it out. And they had to play, that was on the Friday or the Thursday rather. And then they had to play Saturday afternoon, noon Pacific time. So after the travel they had in that last game of the year where they got trounced by Vancouver, they weren't taking any chances. So they flew out in style, and hey, you know what? They lived up to their end of the bargain. They didn't let it get to their heads. They let it get to the floor.
Don't say that too loud, because Leonard Asper is going to be jamming all the flight radars around Brampton now to make sure his brother and company can't fly a private jet. Even if they were going to, this might be a decoy play by Moon here to throw everybody off their game. But we could have a jet off here. We could have a brother jet.
Was it Friday and I thought it was. I'm sure it was Thursday and Saturday. Stack Guy Tie. Was it not a Thursday Saturday game?
He's working on the Mayan calendar. It's never right.
No, I never.
Right.
That's the thing. I never doubt Stat Guy Ty. So I'm like, if I'm right here, I'm really going to gloat, and if I'm not right, I'm never going to bring up his next comments anyway. So
You can delete them too. You can just delete it anyway.
yeah.
There's a no.
Oh gosh. Okay. I thought for sure it was a Thursday, Saturday. My goodness.
There we go. Get that thing out of there. Sunday, the day before holiday, Monday. Oh my gosh. Stat Guy Ty's pulling out his whole calendar now. What are you doing for Christmas, Stat Guy Ty? You got the whole thing out in front of you. Why not just tell us the rest of it? Any Easter plans? But the guard play, like centered around Moon, that's going to be a handful for Brampton. It's going to be a lot. I mean, Brampton has stars, but the defense has been one of the issues with this Brampton team. I mean, they were top of the league for a while, or a good portion of the season, averaging about mid-80s.
Time out. No, it was Thursday. I'm looking at the schedule now, Stat Guy Ty. I'm going to share this in the moment. This is monumental. This is monumental.
I'm going to try to blind him too.
Here we go. This is I'm going to full screen it. They played the Mamba on the Thursday. Now I can't find the actual tab that I was trying to bring up. Here it is. They played on the Thursday, and then they played on the Saturday. I knew it.
This guy's out to lunch, man. He's out to lunch.
Oh man, Stat Guy.
I've been saying this the whole season.
Is doing too much. I think he's multitasking right now, and you know what? But what am I doing here? This is not what we want.
We just got hosed.
Yeah, dude. This is no. This is you were talking about the regular. No. I was talking about the private jets going over Stat Guy Ty. Stat Guy Ty, we're going to need you to pay more attention to the details here, okay, guy?
See, he's telling us our audio. He told us our audio didn't work the other day. D was having a panic attack at the CAA Centre. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm going back. Awesome. I'm like, did we just waste Serta's time for 15 minutes or whatever it was? And then Stat Guy Ty so graciously messages me saying, hey, man, it actually wasn't an audio issue. So he's going to send you a message tomorrow saying Mayan calendar. And if you get that, all you need to know is that that's his way of saying that's Winnipeg for apologizing, I think.
Shout out Stat Guy Ty. That's awesome.
That is good. But
all right, let's get back to our regular scheduled programming here.
Okay, yeah. So the guard play I think is going to be crazy good because this Brampton team is going against a set of guards that can obviously score the rock. Like again, 6 double-digit scores, 4 of them guards in that game, or 3 of them guards in that game against the Vancouver. And that could be, like, people could say, arguably the biggest test in the CEBL is playing Vancouver. I mean, they're a great team. They have a ton of stuff inside, outside, and they're just built correctly. With Kyle Julius at the helm too, as much as people may like that or not like that. I'm not going to stir up any more controversy soup after this morning's episode, but they're a pretty good measuring stick as to how good your team is. And I think Winnipeg, like Winnipeg just didn't beat them. Like Winnipeg waxed them. And every time I use that phrase, I get they only won, but they won by what? 11 points. It was 11 points, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 11 points. Like that to me, like if you win by double digits, you're waxing a team. Vancouver looked helpless in that game. And that was a ton of guard play that I think I watched that game and all I could think of was, man, like this might be an issue for Brampton. Like their guards are good on defense, they're solid, but offense as well. But I think their defensive side is the part that weighs them down sometimes. And then I think it trickles down into the bigs. Like Brampton has played a number of teams that have guards that live on the 3-point line. Winnipeg has a ton of guys in my watching that can move inside. So that's when the bigs become important. And for Brampton, that's where I think they might have the edge. Like you have some guys on this Brampton team. Again, for those in Winnipeg that haven't watched the Brampton team a ton, you're going to see it late tomorrow night. They have 3 guys on their team that are kind of like they run this like 3-man rotation, even though 2 of them are on the floor at all times. They patrol the middle of the key. Matthew Moncrief, he had the target score time winner against Ottawa in the Eastern Conference semifinal. He averages 10 points and 8 boards a game. He's top 5 in rebounding per game this season. He's a young kid. This is his first year in the league. He's unbelievable. All the changes that have happened to this Brampton team, whether it's guards, bigs, anybody moving, they've played with a ton of different lineups this year. They've experimented, and that's why that second half of the season was a little dicey at times. But Moncrief has been the constant. Like he played in 22 games, and he started 21 of them. So he's not moving. He's a guy that's.
I think he's going to be a problem. Like honestly, like if I'm looking at Brampton, going into this series, their best chance of winning is he's the X factor. because I think your guards, and this goes both ways. When I say your guards, it's the Brampton guards, the Winnipeg guards. Like they're both going to have their hands full. Like we are going into a very elite guard matchup between these two teams, and where the advantage is not only Moncrief, dude, Keon Ambrose Hilton. Keon Ambrose Hilton is going to have a big role to play in here and play some big minutes. And let's be real, like he knows Winnipeg really well. He's played against his team last year. He's got great chemistry with Sean East, particularly on that pick and roll. And hey, you guys had him on the podcast, right? I think I was hosting with you that time where he said that. He's like, man, people talk about Sean East wanting to be a scorer and taking those shots where he could be passed. And he's like, man, he's always looking for me on the pick and roll, and he finds me. Like the chemistry there is really good. So I think your bigs in Moncrief and Keon Ambrose Hilton might be the X factors in this one.
Yeah, Keon Ambrose Hilton. I mean, again, like it doesn't take a genius to figure out. He's obviously taken a little bit of a step back this year, but it's a different role. He started half the amount of games that he started in Edmonton when he and Sean kind of ran the show there. But this is how much talent this team has. Like I guarantee you, if you ask them, I'd take this role. Like, would you rather take the role where you're taking a step back and you're playing for a championship, or you're going to be the guy and you're not going to be able to get past the play-in round or the quarterfinal or whatever it was last year, right? I guarantee you he's taking the first option. But the one thing that we said too, when we talked to Serta after last game, Brampton's head coach Alex Serta, he said, man, like Matthew Moncrief is like the guy. Like he is always there. He's got a nose for the ball, man. Like the target score time winner he got in the last game against Niagara to win the Eastern Crown was like, if you watch the replay, he comes off the 3-point line off a Sean East miss, is in the perfect spot, out rebounds 3 guys, including Isaiah Moore, grabs the board, goes up and finishes. And that's like the thing with these guys. Like Moncrief is big, but he's not like thick. He's not a guy that bodies you. He's not a Frank Mitchell type who's going to push you around, or a Jeremiah Tillman who's got so much size that he can just own the paint kind of thing. That kind of more comes from Keon Ambrose Hilton and Tegra Eze. Tegra Eze, another guy that's a crazy kind of come out of nowhere dude. He's 24 years old. He just played a season-high 23 minutes against Niagara, had 7 points and 12 boards.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, why is this guy playing? Like the first start of the season came against Winnipeg in that nationally televised game when it was the Sean East free throw controversy with the old Teddy Allen ankle move there. But that, like, he started, and I remember watching it with Dean. I'm scratching my head and I'm thinking, like, why is this guy starting the game? And then talked to Serta and he said, well, that was a sizing thing. And then he did okay. Like he's a spurt player. Like he'll come in, he'll play 2 minutes out, 4 minutes out, 5 minutes out, whatever it may be, and just kind of go from there. And he's kind of moved into this new role now where it's not only matchups, but he's also good. Like that game the other day that D and I went to, which was the game against Niagara, the Eastern Conference Finals. You hear the guys on the bench, they love him, man. He's like he's doing soft layups, and they're like, man, slam that, like dunk it, like you're playing with confidence, do whatever you need to do now. And that's something that they've instilled in him, that now he has this kind of like new role where he's owning it. And it's another piece that Alex Serta can unlock. I want to ask you though, because you just mentioned it a second ago, and this was something that D and I had talked about. Sean East and Keon Ambrose Hilton having come from the West. How much of an advantage do you think that is to kind of, I mean, I know obviously it's a different coach, different game plan and that kind of stuff, but how much does the play differ? I mean, D and I kind of think that there might be a bit of an advantage there. Again, that's going to sound biased, but there might be maybe something there where it's like they've already played in this arena a number of times, so they're comfortable with the amount of people, because it's no joke that there are thousands of people versus Brampton, where, I mean, we get 1,000 people a game, maybe, if that. Like it's tough at times, but do you think that plays in any advantage for Brampton?
If there's any advantage, it's small. I think the biggest advantage for those guys is they played there before, right? They played numerous games with Edmonton. They played here this year. They've won in that building. And I think that does go a long way. Like, I think the confidence is a lot higher with guys that have, A, the whole team has won there, but B, those guys are used to, these big crowds. I apologize. I'm outside of my in-laws' backyard, so we got some kids playing here. So might bring them on for interviews, see how it goes.
Let the kids play.
Let the kids play, right?
Let the kids
but
play.
yeah, I just want people to know I'm not not hurting kids in the background.
You're in a park. You're in a kids park.
Wait. Matt comes on solo, and suddenly kids are crying when Joey comes back on camera. What the hell happened? No, but I think there's a little bit of an advantage, but I'm not reading too much into it. I think the advantage for Brampton is they've only played one game in Winnipeg, and they're 1-0. And they're 2-0. They beat Winnipeg both times. I mean, realistically, the advantage isn't the fact that they played here last year. It's that they've beaten Winnipeg. Like, it's it's funny because when you look at it now in retrospect, like, it doesn't feel that way until you look at it. Like, this has been a tough season against Brampton for the Sea Bears. One of the teams that maybe the only team I think that Brampton has swept, right? Because they beat them in Brampton and then they beat them in Winnipeg.
They swept Ottawa as well on the season series.
And they swept. And so how much better are you feeling now? Because you also beat Ottawa in the playoffs too, and it mattered most. So I think this is a team that, again, I've said this from the get-go, whether you're on the good side of things or the bad side of things, if you're in the playoffs, whatever you did in the first 24 games is now irrelevant, right? It's one game at a time. And now in this game, you got to win two. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference. Who is going to be the best through 3 games? And there's a good chance this series goes the full 3, and that would be awesome for ratings. It would be awesome for us as media, for all you fans out there. I mean, this would be a phenomenal to see a 3-game series and have that kind of Game 7 feel. But if I'm Brampton, I'm feeling really good. I think it's important for Brampton to get the win at home. Because then it takes a little pressure off going into Winnipeg for sure. But if you win that game at home, you're feeling pretty good. You give me 2 shots to win in Winnipeg, and I've already done it once on national TV. I mean, that's there's a lot of reason to be confident.
This is a win-win for the league. Like, this is a total win-win for the league. It's a win-win all around. One, if you're a Winnipeg fan and you've given your heart and soul to this team since 2023 was the first year. If you've gone head over heels for this team, you support, and you hadn't seen a home playoff win yet, well, this year you're now going to the finals. So you're going to at least see, hopefully, again, I say hopefully because I want this to go the distance, 2 games at home, which would be unbelievable for the fans because they deserve everything under the sun at this point for all the stuff that the organization's been through, and especially this year with the Teddy stuff and in the latter half of the season. Like, they deserve everything. For Brampton, it's the same thing. Like, there have been people who have stuck around this team when stuff wasn't so hot last year, the year before. They really struggled, and people wanted to be involved in this team still. Like, that's why I give so much kudos to specifically both the Asper brothers. Like, they have dedicated so much time and energy, and it's turned into this funny narrative of the brother thing. Like, we ran a graphic on one of our games earlier this season talking about their rivalry and the games they've played against each other, or their teams have played against each other. And I talked to Leonard after the game when Brampton beat Winnipeg in the Flower City, and he said, I got to get my brother on the line, like, call him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is so good. Like, this is just such a nice feel that people care. And the good thing about this league is that when the people that care are rewarded, like Winnipeg fans, like those in Brampton. And I know Stack Guy Ty just made a comment here, which I'm going to pull up if that's fine with you, because I think this is hilarious. I'm going to kick this guy out of the chat, man. What about for those in Brampton who haven't watched the team much either? Get that off. There are people in Brampton, Stack Guy Ty. People do watch the games. People do come to the games, and you're going to see it tomorrow. But it's nice. I mean, for Brampton, again, if they get that win, it'll be their second in since 2022. Again, this is the Honey Badgers. That was when they were in Hamilton, but the Honey Badgers organization, and it's something to build upon too, right? That'll get more buzz around the team, better marketing for next year, and the best thing that kind of sits on top of the mantle that everybody gets to look at the end of the day is star players. Like, there are stars in this series. Like, there are guys that have played in the NBA that
will play in the NBA.
Will play in the NBA.
I've said this about Trenton Flowers.
Dude, I said to D. I said, I was talking about, like, I was going, I was outside the arena the other day, and a guy said, oh yeah, like, I'm new here. I hear him talk about Trenton Flowers and this and that and the Clippers. And I said, oh, well, we had him on the Target Square podcast. You should listen to it. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, I shall check it out. And I'm thinking, here's somebody who's, like, made a connection with the team. Right. Yeah. And that is like, and not just some no-name guy who's on the end of the bench just filling minutes. I mean, this is a guy that again is like someone who wanted to be here. He blew his knee out. We thought he wasn't going to come back at all. And then he said, like, I want to be here. Like, I want to win. Like, I'm not coming back for no reason. Like, I want to win here. So there are guys that not only are stars, but guys that care too. And that's the best kind of ball here, that best kind of matchup I think we could ask for. Again, at the beginning of the season, I know D and I joked a ton about it being like Brampton and Vancouver, or now Scarborough and Vancouver, and like this and that. But I would honestly argue this is even more of a competitive and a better matchup, because these are the max rosters, with the exception of Teddy, the max rosters that you can see for both these teams.
Well, here's the interesting part. Going back to preseason, before we knew who Scarborough had, because it took them so long to put out a roster for their training camp.
Don't get me going on that. Don't get me going on that, Joey.
But everybody had pretty much everybody had. That was my anticipation. I thought, hey, the favorites going into this year are Winnipeg and Brampton, right? And then we didn't know what the Mitch Creek situation was going to be in Vancouver. So 100%, this is kind of weirdly the full circle of what people expected in the preseason. And it's, it come to fruition in like the longest way about possible, for Brampton's just whole second half of the season, and the way, Winnipeg kind of limped in during those last 6 games where they are 2-4. So, but you got here, right? It doesn't matter how you got here, you're here. And now this is the real deal. And tomorrow we're going to tip off, and we'll get more into that and the cool basketballs they have for this one that are phenomenal. I'll see if I get a picture of that. I do want to touch on the CBL finalists for the awards. If you guys want to get in the chats, who you think the awards should go to this year, there's a list. We're going to show them in a bit. Bonomi and I are going to go through it. Sorry, I probably sound a lot clearer too. I realized the first half of the show I didn't have my microphone plugged in, so I was holding this thing for nothing. Technology and math are not my strong suits.
I couldn't even tell though. The audio sounded fine to me. I don't think it was off.
It's the silky magic voice, I guess, Matt
Bonomi.
I don't know. So. Well, that could be it too. I like my reason more than yours, but just want to thank our sponsors. You can see them on the screen, our presenting sponsors that made this whole week of programming possible. Zwike, Winnipeg's homegrown athletic and lifestyle apparel brand. You could visit their lounge, their campus. I got a tour of it yesterday. Phenomenal. They got the basketball courts out there. They've got the patio seating. They're going to have a watch party, so you can go out there. It's at 65 Trotter Bay. Go check out Zwike. They've got great clothes. As I mentioned earlier, the NSL line is awesome for the new Winnipeg women's soccer team coming to town. I want to thank Monday's Cafe. Start your day or make your Monday a little better at Monday's Cafe. They've got matcha, pastries, and $2 large coffees every day, not just Mondays. 305 Broadway, downtown Winnipeg. That's the corner of Donald and Broadway. Can't miss it. They got the big green sign. Holt Dental, man. Day one sponsor, going back to the game day reports a couple of years ago. Super glad to have Dr. John Holt on board and his team. That's how I got these big, beautiful teeth. It's because of Dr. John Holt. So for quality dental care and comfortable, welcoming environment, visit Holt Dental at 1176 Taylor Avenue in Winnipeg and Finn's on Grant in Winnipeg. We've got some gift certificates to give out throughout the week, so you're going to want to stay tuned in. We're going to find some creative ways to give them away. We've got a bunch of gift certificates leading into tomorrow and beyond. Hey, everybody, you wanted the teal party? The teal party is happening at Finn's on Grant's in the Grant Park Mall parking lot. They're going to have the game, the sound on TSN and on CBC. All going to be there. Go check out Jay and his crew. They're going to take care of you. Let's make some plans, guys. You guys wanted it. We got it. Let's get the Target Score crowd together, get out there and cheer the Sea Bears from Winnipeg. So we hear it all the way out in Brampton. That's 1180 Grant Avenue. Finn's on Grant. Thank you, everyone, for making this possible. All right, let's move on now. Matt.
Okay, all right. I'm done.
I did not mean.
We kind of look the same too, right?
I can totally see it. Total resemblance. Brothers, man. Brothers. Twins.
Don't ever let him see that. And I'm waiting for Stat Guy Ty to say something really.
Yes, Stat Guy Ty is already like, just can't get it. It's the lag of the stream. He had it typed out before I stopped talking. Let's get into this though. Oh, here I could just do it this way. All right, share this tab instead. Here we go. Okay, let's get into it.
Nice,
I'm going to full screen it here so we can see it. Here are your award nominees. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to share this one instead. It'll be easier. How does it look on? You guys can read that okay in the comments, right? Yeah, it's clear. Okay.
Yeah, it looks clean.
This is from the CBL website. So if there's any swears or anything on the comments, I have no control. So here are your nominees for the awards. No surprises here, Matt. Miles Powell, Teddy Allen, the finalists for this one. Canadian Player of the Year. I'm a tad surprised. Not for the Frank Mitchell, Tyrese Samuel. I'll get into that in a second. Defensive Player of the Year, Alex Fudge and Kellen Tynes. Sixth Man of the Year, Frank Mitchell and Stanley Davis Jr. From Edmonton. And Developmental Player of the Year, both from the Saskatoon Mamba, Easton Tim and Mohamed Mahadi. Let's go bottom up. You wouldn't have seen these guys this much, so I don't know what you want to throw in on this, or if you thought there were any East guys that got a snub. But these are my top two votes. in the order of Easton Tim and Mohamed Mahadi. I thought those two guys played crucial roles for the Saskatoon Mamba. I actually struggled to see who I was giving my first vote to. I thought they were both so good this year, and they were going to be phenomenal basketball players. They both play at the U of S. It kind of gave me, they didn't have the year Simon Hildebrand had when he was in Winnipeg, but it kind of gave those flashes. Hometown guys, playing in front of their school, playing for their head coach, was the assistant with the Saskatoon Mamba, Jamie Campbell. I think Easton Tim's going to win it, but Mohamed Mahadi, a great finalist as well. I thought this was a very, very good finalist nominees.
I had Easton Tim as first as well. Then I had, so I had those two guys as my finalists. Then I had Ayub Nur Hussein from Niagara. But it's tough, man. I mean, Developmental Player of the Year is such a unique award because I feel like in the past, those players play a ton.
Yeah.
And I feel like in recent, with changes to the rules, like you can have additional imports now and you can kind of rejig your roster. There's less opportunity for them to play. Like, it's no secret the developmental players don't play as much as other players in the league. I mean, there's no doubt there. But Easton Tim, to me, I think was probably the biggest lock. And the thing that I do like, at least for the league, is the fact that these are both Saskatoon guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something to build around for Ribeiro and co out there in Saskatchewan. Like, they're solid guys. And I mean, I hope that they're back in the league next year and get another chance. But Easton Tim, to me, is probably the lock on this. What do you think?
It's 100% the lock. I went back and forth because in the games that I called, and that's where I had to kind of remove the bias of what I saw, because when they were in town, I saw more Mahadi, who was playing phenomenal at the guard, and to the point where I was like, oh shoot, this guy's a dev player, man. Like, that's crazy. Like, I thought he was just kind of on the roster, and I was like, looking at the name, like, I recognize that name, and I'm like, that's the dude from the Huskies. But I think it's Easton Tim. I mean, he is, as Joe Razzo would say, right? I remember, to go back a little bit, come with Uncle Joe for story time. But a few years ago, you might remember there was a nice heated battle. I would say it was a three-way, but it was really a two in the West. David Walker was a finalist when he was playing with Scarborough. But the Simon Hildebrand Diego Mafia, right? Diego Mafia
was gross.
To the point where they didn't even take him as a dev player. They signed him to a legitimate pro contract when he was coming out of his last year to sign another dev player. So, he was a dude that was, playing beyond himself, just a great guard, kind of that Steph Curry type of game. And, in a lot of games, he was outscoring Simon. And, he was older, but in the Canada West, he was a more impactful player for a great Vikes team that was, winning conference championships and going to nationals. And, but I remember Joe Razzo saying, from a scouting standpoint, the higher ceiling is Simon Hildebrand. He's got the tools, he's got the height, he's only going to get better, he's only going to get bigger. He's got this shooting touch that you can't teach. And he's saying no disrespect to Diego Mafia, it's just going to be a harder path for him. He's a little smaller. Those shots are going to become harder the higher he goes. And I kind of feel the same way with Easton Tim. He's a guy that just has the toolkit, has the size, and he's only going to get better. And he doesn't look out of place. He plays a big role with this team, and he doesn't look out of place doing it. So I think it's got to go to Easton Tim. We're going to find out in the next few days here who it's going to go to, but Easton Tim would be well deserving. All right, let's move on here to the next one. Sixth Man of the Year. I'll let you start with this one. I got my
this to me is a lock. I would be hard pressed to think that I almost wanted to leave the other two spots on this portion of the ballot blank because I just wanted to vote for Frank Mitchell. And again, no disrespect to Stanley Davis Jr. They both average 14 points a game, but Frank averages 11 boards a game. I think Stanley Davis Jr. is at 4. Frank Mitchell, and spoiler alert, Frank Mitchell should win Sixth Man, should win Canadian Player of the Year, and should be on the All-Canadian team in my opinion. So I just don't think it's very hard. I don't even think there needs to be much of an argument or much of a real, I think you don't even need to write the essay. You could just get away with the thesis saying Frank,
100%.
Frank Mitchell had this X amount of double doubles, 14 points a game, 11 boards, led the league, set records this year in single season rebounding. That's got to be the guy. And we talked to him before the game in Scarborough a couple weeks ago and in Brampton. He had never come off the bench prior to this season in his basketball career at any level. He had never come off the bench.
That doesn't surprise me.
And Tyrell Vernon said to him, do you want to start? And he said, no, I want to do whatever the team needs me to do in order to get a win. And that's exactly what he does. Like, as much as he's a competitor, and I said to him, you remind me of the Bad Boy Pistons. You've got this kind of aura about you that's very competitive, and you're chippy, but he's a nice guy. And that's the thing. Like, he's a team first kind of dude. Again, highlights from that game against Brampton probably would tell you differently, or would tell you different, specifically the Drake night in the Toronto Pan Am Center. But he's a team first guy, and he'll protect his guys. And he's just a warrior, man. Like, he's the right place, right time kind of player too. And he's athletic as heck for a big guy. I want to say he's like 6'8" or something.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. This should be a lock. Again, no disrespect to Stanley Davis Jr. Great numbers. If Frank Mitchell wasn't playing this year, then Stanley Davis Jr. is a guy. But problem is, Frank the Tank is in the building.
Yeah, I want to bring this up too, because this is a great point from Jokic with glasses. I love it. Was Krause not eligible for that award? Yeah, Krause came in as a development player in his last year from U Sports, and he's getting votes as well. Don't get me wrong, and he would have been just as great in that finalist as well. I think where that latter half for Saskatoon comes in, it's just like, Tim was a guy who they absolutely depended on. Like, Krause played some big minutes and stepped up and would be very deserving of the award. That's what makes this tough. They have to pick two finalists. But I think for what Saskatoon depended on them for, Mason Krause had some big moments, but it was always the depth for him that he came in and hit some big shots. He had games where he had big games, other games where he didn't necessarily need them. I think when it comes down, you put it under the microscope, like, without Easton Tim, like, they would actually have a big hole with their bigs outside of Bediako, right? This was a guy who had to fill in when those guys were gone. So yeah, no disrespect for sure. I wanted to bring that up because Mason Krause is a phenomenal player out of U Sports. But yeah, just wanted to put that. Frank Mitchell, lock for me. I'll be totally transparent here. I'm just bringing up what I had for, oh my gosh, where is it? Okay. Sixth man. There it is. So,
Who's your third?
I had Justin Harmon out of Ottawa.
So did I. So I had Mitchell, Davis Jr., and Harmon. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I had Harmon. The other one that I'm shocked, because Stanley Davis Jr., I thought is a great, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I really kind of went over Stanley Davis Jr. being the guy too. Like, I thought there were a lot of really good options on the sixth man of the year this year. But I was kind of shocked Shamar Givens, because Shamar Givens was a starter in the second half of that, in the last few games, but he qualified for sixth man. And I'm like, man, Shamar Givens might be a guy that could come out and do that too. So again, I'm not like upset about it. Also want to point out, Big Mo Khan said we all had Easton Tim as number one. He was on the Instagram chat that I just caught. Hey, Big Mo Vaughn has nothing on Big Mo Khan. But yeah, no, I'm okay with this. Stanley Davis Jr. played great. I think it's a lock, Frank Mitchell. All right, let's go to the next one here.
Wait, I got one for you. For you. I'm inserting an award here. Best call of the year goes to Mo Khan. Earlier in the year, he did he was commentating the game, an Alliance game, and it was a jumper. And he said, like, so-and-so puts the jumper up, and it goes in, and he goes, confirmed. I was like, that is the best line in the world. I was like, I wanted to use that almost. I'm like, I love this so much. That's a good comment there from Jokic with glasses, too.
Yeah. And John McTavish, what's up, John? Good to see you out here. Yeah, he's another DJ Burns for sure. But the thing with DJ Burns, he wasn't playing that much when Trey Scott was here. To be fair, I think it would have been a battle between Trey Scott and Frank Mitchell, and I still think Frank Mitchell would have won. But Trey Scott was the sixth man for Winnipeg for a good part of that year until he left. So, yeah, thanks for that one, John. Okay, so let's move up to the defensive player of the year, Kellen Tynes, Alex Fudge. That is my 1-2. I had Fudge. Where is it? I got to bring it up again. I had Fudge, Tynes, and my third pick was Bediako.
You had Fudge, Tynes, and Bediako. Okay, I had this was for defensive player of the year?
Yeah.
I had Bediako. Sorry, I had Tynes, Fudge, and Bediako. Who did you have?
We both had Bediako last. I just flipped the 1-2.
Okay,
and I struggled with that. I like Kellen Tynes because he was not only he was good on the ball, but he was also good as a shot blocker as well. But man, Fudge was just a phenomenal. Like, he was a scary dude down low. Like, I just watching so many Ottawa games this year, I felt like Ottawa was playing every night. for a while.
Yeah,
but
that's what we
I saw
said
so
too.
much of him. Yeah, I saw so much of him that I was like, man, how can you not give Fudge? Like, he's not going to qualify for any other awards. But like, dude, anytime you came Ottawa, it was like Brown, Fudge, and Smart, Fudge, and Cleveland. Like those were the three dudes. And Fudge, from a defensive standpoint, I thought did a phenomenal job for Ottawa. So I think Fudge is going to win that out of the two. But if Tynes wins, I wouldn't be shocked about that either. I'd be okay with that for sure. Okay, let's move on here. Sorry, you have something to say?
No, I was just going to say the Fudge. Like, I agree with the Fudge lock for sure. Tynes was top. I think Tynes was second in the league in steals per game. Fudge was second in the league in blocks per game. But this would be the first year, which is kind of crazy, the first year since 2022 and EJ Onu of the Niagara River Lions where a big wins it. So we had Khalil Ahmad 23, Pandy 24, Nelson Jr. 25. So that could break the streak. I think Fudge as well, though.
What the fudge?
Also, have you noticed something here?
The best tagline this year in the CEBL for sure. Yeah, I agreed, man. Owen, thanks for that. Fudge is a crazy good athlete.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, do you notice whoever put this graphic together? Left side seems pretty heavy in terms of being the favorites here. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, Mitchell on the left, Fudge on the left, Tim on the left. Not going to say anything. Read the script, everyone.
Yeah, well, let's see where we're going with that. Before we get to the big one, let's get to the Canadian Player of the Year. And I've got some reservations with this one. I'll let you go first, though.
I know what your reservations are. And I know it doesn't involve Frank Mitchell. That's what I'm going to say. Again, same reason as sixth man of the year. Frank Mitchell is a double machine. He came up big in the games they needed him. Again, all off the bench. And we asked him about Canadian Player of the Year and sixth man of the year. And I believe, if I remember correctly, which one he would want to hoist first if he won both of them. I believe he said sixth man of the year. I believe he told DNI sixth man of the year because it's a role position. Like, it's a role.
Yeah, I remember seeing
his thing.
He said that on the broadcast too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, it was nice that it's nice, obviously, to be Canadian Player of the Year, but sixth man of the year, I mean, you're competing against arguably 9+ other guys that could be potential sixth man of the year. I mean, Canadian Player of the Year, there is a large group there, but you're a specific role player. That's your kind of thing, right? Like, I'd rather be the best designated hitter in baseball than an all-star. That kind of vibe.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's got a point there too. I think he's really embraced that role. And again, Canadian Player of the Year is a lock. Frank Mitchell out of Bonaventure, first year in the league. I don't think you could script up a better kind of outing as a rookie season of the CEBL.
Fair. So Frank Mitchell, I actually had, let me bring it up, make sure. Yeah. I had Frank Mitchell second on my Canadian list, only because he was winning the sixth man. And I, as important as he was, but the other thing too is he was the guy that got suspended for the melee as well. So even though he was up for Canadian of the Year, he kind of let his team down the stretch. That didn't play into the decision, but like it was a part of it too. Where I'm like, even if he's the Canadian of the Year, they didn't have him when they needed him most. I had him second. So Frank Mitchell, I think, is going to win this. I think Tyrese Samuel's a bit of a reputation vote. I don't think he played that well this year. Again, I went with his teammate. I went with Shamar Givens. I thought Shamar Givens in the second half of the season was the best Canadian out there in what he was able to do with Vancouver when Mitch Creek wasn't there, when Tyrese Samuel wasn't there. I mean, he was the dude that was driving that bus. So I gave him for the second half of the season and what Vancouver was able to get through with all of the coaching issues, right, with Julius getting suspended and not coming back. The having to battle back to win the West out of the regular season. They obviously lost in the conference final, but to finish top in the West, a lot of that went to Shamar Givens and how he not only led that offense, but his defense. Like, that guy was so active at the perimeter, getting those steals, shooting the gaps, like just he was so good. And Tyrese Samuel won it last year. He had a great year last year. But I think that was more name recognition. I didn't even have him in my top three. I'm not even kidding. I went with Quincy Guerrier because I thought Montreal did have a push towards the end, and Montreal, as soon as Guerrier wasn't coming to the playoffs, I didn't want Montreal in the playoffs because I didn't think, they're a whole different team without that guy. And Quincy Guerrier always kind of gets a short hand of the stick with the Canadians, and I think part of that is just because his team, never does get to that next level like some of the Scarboroughs and the Vancouvers of the world. So, I thought that was a little bit of a reputation pick. I won't lie.
I also had an interesting one on my ballot in third, which I mean, people may be shocked by this, some may not. I think this comes down to, do you vote for guys who are on teams that didn't perform well? I had Ruggsy on my list, Sean Miller-Moore.
Yeah, I strongly debated Ruggsy, and to be fair, I think it was kind of like Dave DeViro with Coach of the Year. I'll get to that too, but they just fell short of the playoffs, man. Like, and I can make that argument with Guerrier for sure, but I think with Guerrier, like, they were in the hunt the whole time. Like Calgary was grasping for straws at the end, just trying to creep in, right? So that was my deciding factor to go Guerrier over Ruggsy Miller-Moore.
Yeah, that's weird. Like I didn't even put Quincy on my ballot, which again I struggled with because I think I probably went back and forth with you guys a little bit, saying like, is Quincy on here? Is Quincy not on here? Like, just get a feeler about it. But yeah, something about Ruggsy, man. Like I just love Ruggsy. Like obviously he went through some adversity this season when Double D's took over the coaching job there. He's running the show how he wants it to go, and that's a mold that Ruggsy has to fit into, and he did a pretty good job, still averaging 18. But I'm very interested about your Tyrese Samuel take. I'm interested in that. That was I don't disagree either. I mean, I think that's definitely a household name that's been around the league long enough, and I do agree a little bit on that, about that maybe being just one of those kind of legacy picks.
I like, again, great Canadian, is a great player. He just didn't have a great summer. Like
We're about to get a lot of burners in here roasting us, but yeah, the
Chris
West
Wiggins
Coast burner. Yeah,
just leaving work right now. Let me get in on this. What are you talking about?
Savory's tweeting from the top of a mountain right now.
Yeah, Ruggsy looked really good in the first half of the season. Like Ruggsy played well. Like he just the team, like, you know, it's one thing to be a good player, but if your team's not making it, it's hard for me to make that argument, right? Like it'd be the same thing with Teddy Allen. Like, you know, if like Teddy Allen, okay, the records help, and we're gonna get into this, but like if he just had a good season, like say like in 2023, but the team was 0-10 to start the season and, you know, missed the playoffs by like 3 or 4 games, like I'd be like, yeah, it was a great season, but I think there were more valuable players to teams that actually, you know, got somewhere. So it's not a bias thing by any stretch. Do you want to just, is Coach of the Year even listed here?
No, it's not. I don't think they've done that in the past either. I feel like that hasn't been a thing. I don't know why. I just, for some reason, I noticed that earlier too, and I'm like, I don't remember ever seeing Coach of the Year on here.
Well, it's obvious, as Stat Guy Ty points out.
What did he say?
Obvious Coach of the Year.
Oh,
Kyle Julius, right?
Can they split that award, or
maybe GM of the Year for sure? But we'll go to the MVP. No one's surprised here, dude. I think this was the setup all the way through. Miles Powell, Teddy Allen, and I had both those guys as 1-2 in my voting. Well, I'll start this one because you started a lot of them.
Yeah,
I got Teddy Allen taking it. I just
really
Miles Powell played phenomenal, and yes, he led. And I know because it kind of can sound a little contradictory to what I was saying earlier, but you know, Miles Powell was a great scorer, had a lot of target score winners, and you know, led his team to the best record in the CBL in history. But what Teddy Allen did this year was crazy. Like, we never dreamed of a day that we would see. We knew it would come someday, but like no one was near it. Like 54 points in a game, in a FIBA game that has target score, is nuts. And he missed a few shots. Like he could have pushed for 60 that game. Beyond that, he's the all-time leading scorer in a single season. But the crazier part, and I know it fell off in the second half of the season, but his defense, he was first in steals for a few weeks. Then he fell to second. Like, the dude was playing defense. The guy was averaging almost 10 rebounds a game. Like, he was all over the floor. He wasn't just one-dimensional. And there's an argument to be made, I'm sure, about the lack of target score winners, but he wasn't forcing them. Like, that's the thing. He was such a good scorer that he drew the gravity, as he calls it, and he got other guys the looks, and he trusted his teammates with the shots. And his assists too. His assists were much higher than they were the year he won the MVP. I thought, as a complete player, I thought he brought the most value throughout the season to the Winnipeg Sea Bears. It fell off a little bit towards the end in the last 3 games, but that does not erase what he did.
I would be curious to see, and here's a Stat Guy Ty thing, if he's up to the challenge. Would this be the first time that someone with only a single target score time winner has won MVP in the league, because I feel like a lot of people base that off of that, even though that's the clutch player of the year award.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Like, we don't have that anymore.
But I would just be curious to see the Teddy argument. I'm all on board with you too. I love Miles Powell. I love watching him play. He's electric. He's chippy. He's entertaining more than anything. But Teddy Allen to me is like a different league this year. Like, and again, that comes from a bunch of different angles. One, he's level-headed. Like, he was in control. He wasn't playing crazy, and we've seen that in the past. Like, again, I'm not in Winnipeg all the time, but I watch enough of the games where I'm like, sometimes it's like, what's Teddy going to do today? Is he going to snap? Is something going to go wrong? Is the temper going to flare? But this year was under control. It's almost like he came into it in a Zen mentality of like, and Zen headspace where I know what's on the line. I know what I need to do.
Answer from Stat Guy Ty says yes.
So he would be the only guy with one target score time winner to win MVP. I believe that's what the question I posed. Thank you, Stack Guy Ty. Really good lookout. And the crazy thing is too, is his numbers in 2023 are either the same or slightly worse in categories. Like, he's better this year than his other MVP season in 2023. Points a game. He had 20
and it looked easier this year.
Yeah, like he had 20, and folks at home too. He's also playing, like, he's keeping those numbers for 3 more games. Expanded, like, he played 21 total games in 2023. That included playoffs when it was a shorter season. He played 24 regular season games this year, started all of them. So he kept that pace. He was shooting at a better clip. He was scoring at a better clip or the same clip for 3 more games, which is hard to do. And I think like, and then you can get into his defensive game. Like, he was one of the best defenders in the league. Like, there were people that I talked to that had
second in steals.
Dude, there were people that had arguments that they said he should be the defensive player of the year as well. He should win that. And I mean, I voted for who I voted for, but I had no issue in my mind putting his name into my brain when I was doing that ballot. He just looks like he's in control, and the stuff that like impresses me, like, he's little things, free throw percentage, 8% better at the free throw line for 89%. He's averaging 8 boards a game, same amount of assists. Like, and the beauty about it is he doesn't need to score target score time winner. He doesn't need to do that. He can just play his own game, do his own thing, and he's still the most valuable guy, which, again, to me makes this a clear-cut win. Like, again, no disrespect to Miles. I thought Miles had an exceptional season. But, like, this is vintage 2023 Teddy Allen that we saw, and I think you need to reward the greatness that is Teddy.
Yeah, and Owen says Teddy was the best all-around player in the league this year.
Absolutely.
And then Stat Guy Ty says the only exception would be the COVID year. Every other MVP has at least 2 target score winners. So, yeah, great question and great job, Stat Guy Ty.
Yeah, thank you, Stat Guy Ty.
Up to the task as usual. And then Andrew says, would Isaiah Osborne win clutch player of the year if we still had it? He'd be up there because he's hit some clutch shots this year. That's for darn sure. But, yeah, so that's it for Coach of the Year. There's no finalists. But if we're going to do the full transparency, I had – where is it? Where's the Coach of the Year? I had Terrell Vernon as my number 1, Isaiah Fox as my number 2, and Mike Rainbow as my number 3. I just thought what Terrell Vernon did with that team. It's hard to manage that many personalities to that many wins, and I thought he did a phenomenal job with that. But I think all those coaches are well deserving. Whoever comes out of it, there's no. And on my third, because we had to do the All-Star teams, we'll have to wait for those to be announced. But my third choice in MVP, TDM baby. TDM, the ATM, Tavian Dunmartin. I thought he deserved a nod for MVP, but he wasn't on my top 2. That's for sure. But yeah, so that's the finals. We'll have to wait and see how this all pans out. But yeah, it's an interesting list nonetheless. I brought this up. I'm going to bring this up. I don't even remember what the clip is anymore because it's been so long since I cut it. Oh yeah, because you were talking about Xavier Moon. You were talking about like the shots and how they just never lost momentum. So I'm not going to bring up the highlights. We'll go through the highlights tomorrow on Game Day Live. Again, Game Day Live with Bonomi after shoot around. So have your notifications on because we're coming up with a special Game Day Live. But I said there's an N1-3 in the 4th quarter before target time that he hit. And that was the moment that I was like, I think Winnipeg is going to win this game. I was doubting the whole time. I was as pessimistic as I've ever been going through that. So I asked him, was that the moment that you thought that you had the game closed? And here's what he had to say.
When you hit that N1-3 late in the 4th before target time, was that the moment where you knew the game was sealed?
No, the moment I knew is when I threw it. I tried to throw the lob to Simon and it went in. I was like, yeah, we definitely gonna win this game. I made that.
You ever had that happen before?
Never in my life. I wasn't even looking at the basket. I was looking directly at Simon. So when it went in, I'm like, yeah, it's just one of those days.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that highlight, but he goes to throw a loop to Simon Hildebrand, and it just goes in. That's how good Xavier Moon is. He scores even when he doesn't mean to. That was even goes beyond Teddy Allen shots for sure. But I thought that was kind of a funny moment. He's like, yeah, that's when I knew that this game was going our way, and we might add luck on our side. But I wanted to bring that up to kind of put a full circle on our last conversation.
That's the
You're sorry. I gotta give my buddy Joe in Leicester, UK, big Riders supporter out there. The Leicester Riders. He says, I am biased. I like the honesty, Joe, but it's got to be Ted all day. And if you didn't see, we did a good feature on Teddy Allen and Joe's family. Just a phenomenal story. Joe and his family took Teddy in. And fun facts. I know the Winnipeggers know this, but for any Bramptonites that are on this one, Teddy Allen scored 54 points the day after having his favorite meal cooked by Joe's wife, Jen, which is jerk chicken. And that fueled his 54-point performance. So as much as we give Teddy some credit, got to give credit to Jen too. So, but I agree with that. I appreciate that you acknowledge the bias there, but there's none. I think Teddy Allen is the guy this year. Andrew says Mitch Creek for MVP. Man only played 2 games and Aura framed his way into the playoff. Aura farmed rather his name his way into the playoff. Okay, I'll stop trolling. Man, I wish some of the Vancouver guys were on here right now. They don't want to see this, but
they're done. They're done with CEBL. I said earlier, tune into Target Score Vancouver if you want.
Oh, they do have a show. They're gonna wait till after the finals.
Sorry, yeah.
It's too clogged with all the stuff they have here. So they are gonna do a wrap up next week. They need a couple days to grieve, right? They're gonna grieve and they're gonna be fine. So yeah, they're gonna come back and give them their process. We got to give them their space. Stat Guy Ty, that N13 was part of the stat of the game at the beginning of the chat. Oh, nice. Stat of the game. Here, let's see. I want to see. We'll get through a couple more. Then we should probably wrap this up. And Vancouver got to be cursed. They seem to sell in the playoffs every year. But honestly, last year, kind of out of their control. They played good enough to win. It was just crazy, man. And then John McTavish says, why so surprised that Teddy should be a lock? I'm not going to call him a lock because Miles Powell had a phenomenal year too. And he's got a lot of fans in the East and he's deserving of those as well. So I'm not going to go as far as calling him a lock, but I will go as far as saying that he's got a real good chance of getting his second MVP.
I will say, and again, if you watch many Scarborough games, for those folks that are in here right now, Rod Black brought up an excellent point on the game, during the game of the scuffle between Brampton and Scarborough. And he said, MVP conversation, you need to measure it based on the stats, but people also measure it based on the person, how they lead outside of just stats. I do think, and again, this is my opinion, I do think that game changed the opinion of some people when Powell was involved in that scrum. I do unfortunately think too that the fine that was given to Powell, and again, this is me speculating, and this is just what I think. I do think the fine that was given to Powell, there was no suspension, which a lot of people disagreed with based on, you could go to social media and just see all the comments. I think some of that sentiment may be echoed in the MVP voting. That's my opinion. I don't think that's a crazy take, but I think some people may factor that in outside of just the stats. Yeah. As much as we had said stats are stats, you can't argue with it. There is a little more to it, right? It's the same argument as if the team isn't good, why would you vote for the guy, right? It's the same kind of weight there, where if it's if the guy is doing stuff that, people love the villain, but not everybody does, right? So I wouldn't be shocked. In my opinion, anyway, Teddy deserves it. It's a lock, scuffle or not. But I think that also may shift things in talking to some people, just opinions around the league kind of thing.
No, totally fair. Like I said, I took that out of it. I wanted to put the whole thing under the microscope,
Ditto,
the whole season, and zoom out a little bit. But I've talked about this. You and I have talked about this probably on the pod. We've definitely talked about it, over text. Chris Wiggins and I have talked about it. Like Teddy's been my lock, for a while now. But it wasn't far and away. I still think, what Miles Powell did is phenomenal. And, he was a big reason why Scarborough had a record season. So, yeah. However it goes down, it's, there's no losers. I want to bring this one because Joe has very much watched every game Teddy's played. He stays up to the wee hours of the night, into the morning, watching these games. Huge Seabears fan, huge Teddy fan. And he says, he's improved. And he's also a basketball mind. I should point that out too. Like, this isn't just a fan. This guy is a knowledgeable basketball fan. He says he's improved as a player from an already elite talent. Really enjoyed Mitch Creek's game as well. Sean East had some moments as well. And I agree. Sean East kind of fell into the radar because he went to Summer League. He missed a few games. I think that always hurts his chances, and I think it hurt his chances last year too. Lots of excellent players in the CBL. I've enjoyed the season all around. Lots of mini excitement throughout. Shout out Niagara, end of season run for sure. And I think we're going to see a lot of Niagara fans coming out to support the Seabears.
Oh my
God. Support Niagara in Winnipeg last year when they beat Calgary. So you might see a different shade of green jumping over to teal tomorrow.
They had a bunch of fans there the other day for the Eastern Conference Finals. They would score, and the place would go nuts. And I said to D, I'm like, this is bizarre. I mean, where is that coming from? They had a whole section behind their bench loaded with people. They did a really good promo. I think it was like $20 for the ticket, and then you get a bus ride from Niagara to Brampton to watch. So they travel well. I mean, Michelle Biscup, the team president's done a heck of a job there. She's the one that's lined up.
Yeah, they're
partially responsible for both of these guys right here, Joey, just in case someone wants to throw here.
How did you get those? Who did you take those from?
Come on now, take them. Okay. Come on now. What are you kidding me? I'm part of the team. I play for the team every other day.
Well,
you just don't watch enough to see it.
Thanks, Matt Bonomi, future host of Target Score Niagara, coming at you 2027.
No. I'm sticking with Brampton. I'm sticking with my boys.
You better. We'll see how these finals go. I think it's a ring that sways you. You just came to Brampton. She's like, they gotta get a ring this year.
It's sort of
bandwagoner.
I'm not
bandwagoner.
I'm not. I just want to make my Niagara fans happy. I don't want anybody to be that cheesed about it. But but they travel well. That should be exciting. If it ends up being true, and there are a ton of Niagara fans there tomorrow, pledging their allegiance to Winnipeg, that'll be awesome. I said to D today too. I don't care if it's 1 million Winnipeg fans and 1 Brampton fan, and that 1 Brampton fan is me. I'm just happy that people are there out and supporting the league, and I don't think there's no loss in this whole finals, regardless of who wins.
All right, man. I got to wrap this up because my father-in-law is whipping up some ribs right now, and it smells delicious. So I got to go have a good home-cooked dinner here, and my computer's about to die. But hey,
love it.
Make sure if you aren't already, if you haven't, like this episode, subscribe to this channel, have the notifications on. To all the new viewers, welcome aboard. We're going to have programming all week, including Game Day Live tomorrow. It'll be shortly after, probably about between noon and 1 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock Eastern time. So that's 11 to noon Central time. You're all welcome aboard. And of course, thanks again to our sponsors, Holt Dental, Zwieke, Monday's Cafe, and Finn McCool's on Grant in Winnipeg, all making this trip wild. I'm live in Brampton right now. I will be here for the next 2 days before we head back to Winnipeg for Game 2, Game 3. We will be in the building tomorrow, Matt, and we will bring you all of the coverage. We will have interviews, and we might get a bunch of a few players on there as well. Maybe we get an NBA guy. You just never know what's going to happen on the Target Score podcast. Do you have any closing remarks here, Matthew?
I would just like to say, Joey, normally I would make a bet with you, ask you for predictions, anything. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to enjoy the basketball. And again, thank you for another, I guess, our first season on the Target Score podcast network. But I'm excited to do the next couple of days with you. Should be a ton of fun. We'll see if we can get C-Ball on here at some point too. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting.
Sounds good. And Andrew, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, going to be a great couple of days in the Flower City.
I'm super excited. I'm also my mother-in-law was Gardener of the Year like 2 years in a row in the Flower City. So I'm like kind of in the Hall of Fame right now of Flower City. What time at Finn McCool's and where? No worries, Andrew. Grant Park. So the one at the Grant Park Mall. You can call to make a reservation. I think I already deleted the message here. Where is it? If I can find it real quick, I'll tell you. So you can call 431 317-8636, or you can go online to make your reservation. Get there before the game. The game is at it'll probably have a pregame at 6, maybe 5:30 Central Time. So right after work, get out to Finn's, have a cold one, have a non-alcoholic, have some appies, have some food, support the local business. They're supporting us at Target Score. Let's support them back. And if you can't make it there, Zwieke is also having a viewing party on their campus outside. So let's see if we can get Finn's packed, and then let's head over to Zwieke as well and support our guys there and pick up some great merch. Appreciate everybody being here today, joining us here on our first show. I know it wasn't, again, it might be this way. We might not get a lot of upfront notice, so just have those notifications on. And as Eric said, XO204, hey man, after work pod, that was great. We might have a few more of those. So hey, gonna have you along all week. Thanks again, Matthew. Appreciate you. We're gonna do this the rest of the week. And,